Welcome back everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful day. We're going to be reading some more PettyRevenge today and it's going to be so fun. But before we do, I need to mention that I missed an episode yesterday and I feel really bad about it, guys. I don't like missing days. And I went from not missing a day ever to missing like 3 days super close together. So yeah, I'm back and I'm excited and I'm going to try not to miss any more days. And yeah, hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And let's get into it. Enjoy, guys. Accidental vengeance on an aggressive driver. Copy pasted from a comment. I got asked to make this into its own post. When I was pregnant with my first, my husband was driving us to visit family. This guy started driving really aggressively, chasing us, passing and brake checking us, and husband was being evasive across the 6-lane nightmare that is Greensboro, NC. I had hyperemesis. That means I threw up a lot. The guy floored it to get next to my window right when I rolled mine down, leaned out and began to projectile vomit. My normal car sickness plus the hyperemesis and the evasive maneuvers really set me off. I absolutely painted his Jeep. The front side and the top were covered in vomit. His window was down, probably to scream at us. I painted him too. I couldn't stop. I'm hanging out the window going 55, snot and vomit running down my face, sobbing my eyes out because throwing up like that hurts, you know. The guy backed off after that. Yeah, I'm sure they did. My husband laughed himself stupid. He called me his mobile defense cannon and the vomit cannon. Maybe the guy learned a lesson about driving like a psycho. Probably not. My husband still joyfully tells the story of the vomit vengeance though. The top comment says chemical and biological warfare. Hell yeah. Yeah, we read some pretty unbelievable stuff, but that might be my favorite thing we've read in a long time. The post started off so chill and so normal and relaxed, and then you turned into a vomit cannon. The next one is called A Kid Laughed at Me During Lunch Hour, so I removed his rewards. I, 18 male, work at a boba shop which tends to get very busy during lunch hours half the time. There's a reward system where every 10 drinks that you buy, you get 1 free drink. Well, on this very special day, stuff got really busy as soon as the label machine broke down. From a phone call that last minute placed about 180 drinks. What? No way. I was using another machine, but it was very different from what I usually use. I would have people writing down their phone numbers so that way me or my manager could add their rewards at the end of the day. There was this one kid and his sister who were about 6 to 9 years old who gave me a very hard time and were laughing at me for what I was doing. He then asked me to write down his phone number, so I did that, but then decided as a petty revenge for giving me a hard time during the busiest hour, I threw the paper with his phone number away in the trash so that I would not add his reward. I would do it still to this day every time I'd see him. Yeah, and fair enough, OP. People that laugh and make fun of other people who are working are so cringe, but also like the top comment says, who the hell orders 180 drinks in a single order? Yeah, that's what I want to know too, and also, can you even make that many? How long would it take to make that many? Ages, surely. Oh, hello there, boba shop. Me and my 179 other friends. We all want a boba, please. The next one is called My Cousin's Revenge Baby Announcement. My cousin was married just over a year ago, and unfortunately, one tone-deaf, self-centered friend and their girlfriend used the opportunity to stage a proposal. They were already engaged, but they planned this proposal event when they saw and liked the venue, which they wouldn't be able to afford for their own wedding. When this plan came to light, they were politely but firmly asked not to do it. But main character alert, I guess. They were absolutely obnoxious about it too, stopping the reception to call a toast to themselves and ordering everybody off the dance floor so they could have a proposal dance. Oh, that's so awful. Now their wedding is approaching and my cousin is pregnant and she has plans for her baby announcement that may just coincide with the wedding time and place, and we also have a couple of close friends who know about this and are planning on bringing baby shower gifts. Cousin has too much class to entirely take over the wedding, but revenge will be had. That's so disgusting that they did that. Like, that's more than tone deaf and self-centered. Actually revolting behavior from the friends. Yeah, like this comment says, okay, if you're cold-hearted enough, don't just do the announcement. Make a big deal about how they announced their engagement at your wedding and how great it was, so you just had to make your announcement here. That way none of the other guests will know what you're doing, and the couple will not only be pissed, but they won't be able to explain it to anyone, which will drive them nuts. Yeah, like, I know revenge isn't the answer, but oh my god, these people deserve it so much. That's so awful that they did that at your wedding. I'm surprised you didn't kick them out. The next one is called $800 car turns into $3,000 in tickets. This has been a favorite story among my friend group over the last few years, so I figured I'd share it here. From 2018 to 2022, I, 25 male, was a consistently broke pizza delivery guy. My common method for vehicles was to buy cars for less than $1,000, do minor repairs and drive them for 3 to 6 months until they exploded. I'd make 10x on the car and I would wash and repeat. Did this probably 7 or 8 times over the years. The only time I ever got burned was buying a 98 Civic Coupe. I remember I was a little bit extra broke, but I needed a car for work that week, and Civics and Corollas were and are still the easiest and cheapest for me to work on. I texted him and I drove to Felony Flats in Portland, red flag number 1, and was greeted by a man with a gold grill, red flag number 2, who didn't speak much English, which wasn't helped by my poor Spanish. The car itself was pretty beat up cosmetically, but it ran perfectly, so I gave him the $800 and I headed to work. This is where the effery begins. The next day I head to the DOL to register the car, only to realise that the title was voided due to the car being in a wreck, so I wouldn't be able to register until I got the proper title. Annoying, but I figured he made an innocent mistake. I call him and I leave messages saying that there's issues with the title and he doesn't respond. I call over 100 times over the next 2 weeks to try to get it figured out, but he keeps on ignoring me, and at this point I figure I've been had. I move the car to the public street to deal with another day. One morning I come out to find tickets for no registration and no insurance that were left on the car for $150 to $200 between the two, and a tow warning. At first I was enraged until it dawned on me that the car wasn't even in my name, and those tickets weren't mine to deal with, so I made a plan. Every few days after the car would get re-ticketed and tagged for towing, I would come out, place the tickets on the driver's seat, move the car by a few feet and erase the tow warnings. After about 2 months I'd racked up about $2,000 in tickets on this car that's not even in my name. One day I get a frantic call from, who'd you guess? The man who sold me the car, who also miraculously learned perfect English, telling me he was getting calls from the city and begging me to not let them tow it. I think at this point he realised what I was doing and that he would get me the title that week, and he said the delay was because he and his wife were in a nasty divorce and she had the current title. I simply responded, "What car?" and hung up on him. As I was leaving my apartment, I saw the cops there getting ready to load it onto the tow truck, and I decided to let it go in case the former owner came looking for it. Ultimately, I never got my $800 back, but he got $2,000 in tickets, $4,000 if they went 30 plus days unpaid, a $1,000 tow bill, and if the story about his divorce was true, a super pissed off ex-wife because the car was still in her name too. Can't put a price on that. I never heard from him or the city about the car. My only regret was not driving it to an empty parking lot and leaving it in a handicapped spot, but I didn't want to risk being seen on cameras. I hope you enjoyed. That was incredible. What car? What are you talking about? Okay, so next to the projectile vomiting story, this one is definitely my favorite. That's such good petty revenge. Hell yeah, OP. The next one is called ex-BFF refused to pay back loan, so I'm making them pay the IRS. Right before the pandemic hit, I'd left an abusive relationship for good and moved back to my state to stay with one of my longtime BFFs to get back on my feet. This was somebody who was like a sibling to me for 15 years. We went through the highs and deep lows in life by each other's side. Once everything was shut down, all my work, freelance and side hustles dried up. It wasn't until summer that freelancers were included in all COVID relief, and then I was eligible for unemployment. The same time, my BFF was transferred to another state, but only for 1 year and then back. They weren't eligible for unemployment because they were still working remotely on reduced pay and hours, but they claimed that they didn't have enough money for the move, and their relocation package was only $500 to break a lease and move to a neighbouring state in 30 days during a pandemic. Since I was planning to go with them, I lent what money I had to help with the cost of the move. Once we got to the new state, friend needed a car to get back and forth from work instead of ride sharing, so I lent them even more money to lease a car. I started working underneath them because their company was short-staffed for the holidays and I needed income. This is important because ex-BFF knew exactly what I made, a little over $11 an hour. Around this same time, I brought up the loan and they agreed to start paying it back in chunks. By the end of the year, they'd only paid back $400 and told me they were getting a nice end-of-year bonus for how well the store performed, and they would be able to pay me back in full after the new year. We agreed March was the deadline. By February, I was asking if they'd gotten said bonus. "Oh, I haven't gotten it yet, I'll let you know." Meanwhile, they'd been dating someone toxic AF and they were never around, and started being distant via text with me and other mutuals. March arrives, ex-BFF informs me that they'll be transferred back to their old store and we can move back to where we came from. Yay! And oh, I'll have to pay you back later because I had to pay off a bunch of credit debt, which was from a toxic ex they dated before the current one. Okay, fine, let's get out of one of the worst states in the country and then we'll settle up. Later that month, a mutual friend was hanging out and ex-BFF told them about the move back, except they said, "I'm moving back," before quickly correcting to, "We're moving back." April arrives, ex-BFF had to travel to Oldsdale for a week to get work things settled. I catch them when they're back and I ask about the plans. In rapid succession, they reveal that they've completely screwed me. I found a 1-bedroom condo. I'm not taking any of the furniture. You can find a nice place for probably $1,000 a month. Oh, I'm ending the lease here 2 months early. You have to be out by June. You can keep working at the store here year if you want. Long story short, I spent about a year couch surfing with friends in 4 different states. I was battling a deep depression over the horrible relationship that I'd left, the friendship that I'd been booted out of, and also a close friend took their life, and the general crap show of life after COVID hit. It was a terrible time, and I felt incredibly stupid that I let myself become homeless by trusting the wrong people in my life. After several attempts in writing to ex-BFF for repayment, I considered small claims. I wrote up a demand letter and I organised all the paperwork. All their social accounts immediately went private. After a month of no response, I considered the time and money it would require to recoup my losses, neither of which I have much of. So I decided this doesn't have to be my problem anymore. They've been sent a 1099-C for cancellation of debt. They don't want to pay me? Fine, they can pay the IRS since they kept my loan as income. I have all the receipts I need to prove the loan and repayment terms, and they know that too. Wow, and good on you, OP. Why should you have to deal with this? That's so smart. The IRS will be onto them so fast. OP said in the comments here, plenty of friends help each other financially when they're able. We had both done this for each other many times without any issue, and that friendship wasn't blown over money. It was blown because they decided to be a horrible person, and they knew that I wasn't in a position to do anything about it. Yeah, not good. I'm so glad you did this, OP. The next one is called Sign My Boss Up for Every Email List I Could Find. Back in the early 2000s, I had a manager that would often be a jerk to many of his employees, including me. He loved to tell people that they should be happy to have a job, gave no constructive feedback. It was all just how bad we were. When I got my review for the year, he'd given me a 1 out of 5. When I asked his boss to review my review, his boss literally said, "What the hell?" As he'd talked to lots of my internal customers, his boss actually gave me a 4.7 or something out of 5 on the re-review because he knew the changes I'd helped the team make. Not long after the review, I'd be on the internet, and anytime that a website would ask me to sign up for their email, long before you had to opt in, I'd put his work email into the field. I did this for a few weeks and then moved on with my life because I had a million other things to do. A year later, I was helping him with something on his computer and made a comment about having 10,000 unread emails, and he made a comment about getting on some spam list, and now he's getting hundreds of emails a day and they weren't work related. When I left his office after that, I suddenly remembered signing him up for all the email lists, and I smiled back to my desk. That's so funny. And not only is it a funny, petty sort of revenge, but it's also harmless. Like what, you're gonna be awful to people for no reason? The least you deserve is to be signed up for a whole bunch of email lists and stuff. That's so funny. The next one is called Ex-Friend Treats Me Like Crap, Loses His Event Pass. This one's a petty revenge between me and a now ex-friend of mine. For the purpose of the story, he's a male a few years younger than me, but we're both in our 30s. I'm just gonna call the event because I don't want any negativity towards said event because I love it. My ex-friend is the kind of guy who sleeps with as many women as humanly possible, and if they're married or otherwise taken, the better, is incapable of talking about anything besides the horizontal mumbo, and spends all his time at clubs drinking and doing drugs. He wasn't like that when I met him, which is the only reason we were friends at the time. Fast forward to a little over a year ago, we both go to this event. Hotel accommodations were made, but he screwed me over with them because I was the only female he's ever known that he hasn't had the horizontal mumbo with, and that makes it uncool. He can't have me meeting his male friend, so he gave my spot to his most recently acquired horizontal mumbo friend. To top matters, after I made my own last minute accommodations, I saw him at the event and I tried to say hi. He was with a few of his male friends. He immediately told me to F off and to stop bothering him, and I was so damn clingy and needy. Oh god, what? A decent, kind person isn't gonna say that. Yeah, I can see why you're not friends with them anymore. I saw him in person maybe 2 times a year, and I texted him on the phone maybe less than once a month for a couple of minutes. This of course made all of his male friends laugh. Oh yeah, cause that's so funny. God, some people suck. Later during the event, I found him by himself and I approached him and I told him it was not cool what he did in front of his friends. I understood that I was a responsible woman unlike his other female horizontal mumbo partners, and that maybe he felt he had to present himself in a certain way in front of his friends, but I expected an apology. Maybe I was out of line. No, definitely not. Maybe I wasn't, but it wasn't the first time he treated me like this, and we were already on edge. He basically told me to bugger off because he didn't have time to listen to my whiny little biatch complaints, and that I needed to get over him. That was the last time I saw him at the event. I didn't talk to him for a year. Now fast forward again to the event version 2023. Now I work security at the event. Lo and behold, he shows up with all of his friends. I hadn't even thought about it, but the opportunity was right there. I charged him with harassment, unruly behavior, and carrying open alcohol in an area where it isn't allowed. Okay, so he hadn't actually done those things in front of me that year, but I'd seen him do them multiple times in previous years, and I'd seen him get warned by security in previous years. Once he even posted on social media how they got kicked out of their hotel for their behavior, but they stayed for the event and just drove each day. It's a 4-day event. His event ticket was immediately revoked before he even got in. Since he'd already redeemed it, however, he was not refunded, as I assume he was staying in a hotel with his friends as well. He didn't get that refund either because the hotel was still used. That means he was out several $100s and missed the entire weekend. What he doesn't know is that I'll be working security as well next year, and probably the year after, and the year after, and the year after. Yeah, and that's what they deserve. Being so awful for absolutely no reason. Hey, would you look at that? Consequences of your actions. Yeah, good job, OP. The next one is called I Need a Doctor's Note to Work From Home. I guess I'm not working at all. A fairly short story that took place today. So, for context, I'm working as an engineer and all of my work is done on my work laptop. Because of this, teleworking is pretty much the way of working ever since the pandemic started. However, 2 weeks ago, we got a new manager who decided that we had to have a mandatory team day at the office once a week, basically wanting everybody on the team to be present that day. I don't like the idea of mandatory presence at the office, but whatever, I thought to myself. I usually go once a week to the office anyway for various reasons. Fast forward to today, it's our mandatory day and I'd been coughing since yesterday night, so I decided to not risk it and stay home. I had the symptoms of some illness, but I felt like I could still work. Besides that, I don't want half the office to be sick as well by next week and then blame me for it. So I sent my manager an email to inform him that I wouldn't be present at the office. Not much later, I got a reply stating that agreements must be respected and that mandatory days can't be missed without a doctor's note. So that's what I did. I went to the doctor the same day and she gave me 3 sick days off. I took a picture of the doctor's note and sent it to HR with the manager in CC. I still don't understand why he made it such a big deal that I wanted to work from home for my own and my team's well-being. But hey, 3 days off? Hell yeah, OP. That's such a polite way to get revenge. I feel like a lot of doctors love stuff like this. Like you explain the situation to the doctor and the doctor's like, wait a second, have they been treating you bad? Oh yeah, we're gonna give you some time off. Okay, last one for the day. Giving back my roommate's energy. A few years ago, I rented a house with 2 other women. We were all in our mid-20s working full-time with various social obligations. We kept the house tidy, though sometimes a dish or 2 was left in the sink for later if we were running late. Nell, all fake names in this post, called a roommate meeting and said that we should all wash our dishes when we're done using them. No problem, right? That's what we mostly did, except for the rare occasion when somebody was running late. We were extra conscientious about it afterwards. A few weeks later, I came home one afternoon to my other roommate, Petra, standing in the kitchen and looking annoyed. Above the sink was a post-it note reading, per our previous conversation, please don't leave dirty dishes in the sink. In the sink was a coffee cup, a small plate and a spoon. Petra had missed her alarm, and I guess Nell came home during her lunch break, saw the mess and left a note. But here's the thing, this is the first time that Petra or I had left anything in the sink since the conversation that we had. Nell, however, regularly left her dishes in the sink until the next day. The next night, Petra and I come home after Nell was asleep. She left a cup in the sink. Petra ran to her room, grabbed a pile of sticky notes, and wrote, per our previous conversation, please don't leave dirty dishes in the sink. I asked if I could leave a note, and it spiraled from there. Between the two of us, we left every step for washing a dish, a note on the soap, soap is your friend, one by the sponge, use me to scrub away dirt, the faucet, you're almost there, rinse here, and the towel, last step, dry and then put away. I was the first one to leave in the morning. Upon returning home, the sink was empty and a single post-it remained. I don't appreciate the passive aggression. That's so funny. And once again, it's harmless petty revenge. Yeah, like this comment says, leave a note, I don't appreciate your hypocrisy. This advice is not intended to make your relationship with them better. Yeah, that's so funny, and that's a good place to leave today's episode. Time for something wholesome. She found a new spot in my car, lol. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, like the top comment says, it's not a cup holder, it's a pup holder. Like that's definitely what they're made for. I'm a sea fan. I guess I am too. I never really thought about it, but I love it here. That's so cute. No, like I'm a sea fan. Yeah, so am I. The sea is awesome. A camera is better than a rifle to shoot an animal. Yeah, definitely. And that's such a good photo. And on that note, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to HollowCat19. This one was intense. Definitely both fun and concerning at the same time. Yeah, I feel like you could apply that to every video that we make. Fun, but also definitely concerning. Even though it was concerning, I hope you had a wonderful time. And there's many more fun and concerning videos to come. Okay, I'm out of here. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!